My dear friends, today I want to speak to all the incredible women listening, the women who carry silent storms in their hearts, yet walk with grace, the women who dry everyone else's tears while hiding their own, the women whose strength is not loud, but deep, spiritual, and sacred. We live in a world that constantly tells women what they should be, how to act, how to look, how to love. But a truly strong woman is not built by society's noise. She is built by her own choices, her own discipline, her own faith. So today, I want to share with you 7 rules to become a strong woman. These rules are not just lessons, they are tools you can use every single day. Let's begin. Rule 1 speaks of something so simple, yet so rare in today's world: protecting your peace more than your image. My dear friends, most people live their whole lives trying to prove themselves to others, trying to fit in, trying to be liked, trying to be accepted, trying to be seen as good, successful, beautiful, strong, perfect. But a strong woman understands one thing very deeply: peace is more precious than approval. Peace is more fulfilling than praise. Peace is more powerful than reputation. Imagine you are holding a glass of clean, pure water. This glass represents your inner peace. Every time you let someone's opinion affect you, it's as if dust is being thrown into that water. Every criticism, every judgment, every comparison, every unnecessary comment clouds your clarity. And if you're not careful, you start drinking that same dirty water. You start believing what others say about you. You begin shaping your life around their expectations, not your truth. But a strong woman does something remarkable. She protects her glass. She guards it with courage. She doesn't allow every outsider to pollute her inner world. In daily life, you will meet people who misunderstand you, people who question your decisions, people who speak about you without knowing your story, people who try to pull you down because they cannot rise, people who criticize you simply because your light hurts their eyes. And if you try to fix every misunderstanding, you will spend your life exhausted. If you try to respond to every rumor, you will spend your life distracted. If you try to please every person, you will lose yourself completely. A strong woman realizes that not every issue needs a reaction. She understands the difference between what deserves her voice and what deserves her silence. When someone speaks behind her back, she doesn't run to correct them. Why? Because she knows they were already behind her. When someone doubts her abilities, she doesn't waste time explaining. She simply grows so much that success becomes her answer. When someone tries to provoke her, she remains calm because she knows anger is expensive and peace is priceless. You see, my dear friends, peace is not something you stumble upon. Peace is something you cultivate. Peace is a daily discipline. Peace is a choice, especially in moments when everything around you tries to take it away. A strong woman will walk away from noise, not because she is weak, but because she is wise. She will choose her inner harmony over outer applause. She will choose a quiet heart over loud drama. She will choose growth over gossip. She will choose herself. Think of a moment from your own life. Maybe someone misunderstood you. Maybe someone blamed you for something you didn't do. Maybe someone attacked your character. Maybe someone tried to make you look small. And what did you do? Many times we fight back. We defend ourselves. We try to make them see our truth. But the truth is, People see the world not as it is, but as they are. Some people cannot understand your depth because their minds are shallow. Some people cannot understand your kindness because their hearts are closed. Some people cannot understand your intentions because their vision is clouded by insecurity. So why fight battles that were never yours to begin with? A strong woman protects her peace by letting unnecessary things go. She stops reopening doors that God has closed. She stops arguing with people committed to misunderstanding her. She stops explaining herself to those who only listen to reply, not to understand. She focuses her energy on people who value her, respect her, and uplift her. Because she knows peace does not come from trying to change others. Peace comes from changing your focus. There will be days when life tests you, when people try to disturb your calm, when situations feel overwhelming. But in those moments, remember, you cannot control what others say or do, but you can always control how you respond. And sometimes, the most powerful response is no response. Sometimes the strongest action is to remain still. Sometimes the greatest victory is to walk away. Protecting your peace also means protecting your mind. Do not feed your thoughts with negativity. Do not allow someone else's bad day to become your bad day. Do not carry emotional weight that doesn't belong to you. A strong woman knows that peace begins with what she chooses to allow inside her mental space. If something threatens her calm, she distances herself. If a relationship drains her energy, she reevaluates it. If a habit steals her joy, she breaks it. When you begin to prioritize peace, your entire life shifts. You smile more. You breathe deeper. You respond with wisdom instead of reacting out of pain. You see clearly what once confused you. You attract better people. You make better choices. Because when your mind is peaceful, your decisions become powerful. My dear friends, remember this always: your peace is your responsibility, not the world's, not your family's, not society's. You are the guardian of your inner world, and the moment you realize this, you stop giving people the remote control to your emotions. You stop living like a puppet. You stand firm like a mountain, stable, grounded, unmoved by storms. A strong woman is not the one who shouts the loudest. A strong woman is the one whose heart remains calm, even in chaos. She knows that peace is not an escape, it is her real power. And when she protects that peace, she becomes unshakable, unstoppable, unbreakable. Saying no is one of the simplest actions in the world, yet somehow one of the hardest for many people, especially women. From childhood, many women are taught to be agreeable, to be polite, to be accommodating, to say yes, even when their heart whispers no. But a strong woman understands that her time, her energy, her emotions, her boundaries are sacred. And she knows that saying no is not an act of rebellion, it is an act of self-respect. Think about how many times in life you said yes, just to avoid disappointing someone. You accepted responsibilities you didn't have capacity for. You agreed to meet people who drained your energy. You listened to conversations that made you uncomfortable. You carried emotional weight that wasn't yours to carry. You walked into situations your intuition clearly warned you about. You allowed people into your life who took advantage of your kindness. And after all this, you ended up exhausted, frustrated, overwhelmed, and sometimes even resentful. But the truth is, People don't overstep because they are powerful. They overstep because you are too afraid to say no. And fear is a thief. It steals your peace, your time, your dreams, your identity. A strong woman has learned that she cannot pour from an empty cup. When she says no, she isn't rejecting a person, she is choosing herself. She is choosing her well-being. She is choosing her mental clarity. She is choosing her emotional balance. Let me share something important. Every yes you say carries a hidden cost. If you say yes to someone else's demand, you might be saying no to your own healing time, your rest, your priorities, your dreams. If you say yes to a relationship that drains you, you are saying no to the peace you deserve. If you say yes to pressure, you are saying no to your happiness. So when a strong woman learns to say no, she is not being selfish. She is finally being wise. Daily life is filled with moments where this rule becomes essential. Imagine someone asking you for help when you already have a full day. You want to support them, but you know helping them means neglecting something important for yourself. A strong woman politely refuses, not with harshness, but with clarity. I'm sorry, I can't do this today. And she moves on without guilt. She understands that guilt is a mental trap created by years of conditioning. She replaces guilt with honesty and aligns her actions with her capacity. Or think of a friend who only calls when they need something, never when they want to genuinely connect. A strong woman recognizes this imbalance and slowly limits her availability. Not because she is cruel, but because she values genuine connections, not one-sided relationships that drain her spirit. Or imagine a workplace where people keep piling extra tasks onto her because she is known to never refuse. She eventually realizes her kindness is being taken for granted. So one day she calmly says, I cannot take on more at this moment. That simple sentence becomes a turning point. She earns respect, not because she said yes, but because she finally said no. Another example is emotional boundaries. When someone tries to manipulate her with guilt, if you cared, you'd do this for me. A strong woman doesn't fall into the trap. Instead, she responds with composure, I care, but I cannot do this right now. When someone tries to force her into choices she is uncomfortable with, she protects her space by refusing. Saying no stops being frightening and starts becoming empowering. A strong woman also understands that saying no saves her from unnecessary drama. When someone invites her into gossip, she turns it down. When someone provokes her into arguments that lead nowhere, she declines the fight. When someone wants her to compromise her values, she firmly refuses. Peace becomes more important than pleasing people. Sometimes, the most difficult no is the one she says to her own heart. The heart that wants to hold on to someone who is hurting her. The heart that wants to return to situations that destroyed her. The heart that wants to stay loyal to someone who never valued her. In those moments, her no becomes an act of self-liberation. She says no to the past so she can say yes to her future. Saying no does not make her unkind. Saying no does not make her arrogant. Saying no does not make her cold. A woman becomes strong when she learns her worth, and worth is expressed through boundaries. When you guard something precious, you don't apologize for it, and a woman's peace, energy, heart, and time are precious. The beauty of saying no is that it creates room for real yeses, The yeses that align with her purpose, her joy, her values. The yes to growth, the yes to self-care, the yes to healthier relationships, the yes to opportunities that uplift her, the yes to dreams she put aside for too long. A strong woman's no is not spoken with anger, but with calm confidence. Not with fear, but with clarity. Not with guilt, but with grace. And people around her slowly learn to respect her boundaries because she respects herself. The more comfortable she becomes with saying no, the more powerful her life becomes. Her decisions become intentional. Her relationships become healthier. Her mind becomes clearer. Her spirit becomes lighter. She realizes she cannot control how people react, but she can control how she protects her inner world. And sometimes, the most transformational moment of a woman's life is the moment she finally says, no more. No more to being used. No more to being underestimated. No more to being overworked. No more to being manipulated. No more to being taken for granted. That no more is the first step toward a life of dignity, purpose, and strength. Saying no is one of the simplest actions in the world, yet somehow one of the hardest for many people, especially women. From childhood, many women are taught to be agreeable, to be polite, to be accommodating, to say yes, even when their heart whispers no. But a strong woman understands that her time, her energy, her emotions, her boundaries are sacred. And she knows that saying no is not an act of rebellion, it is an act of self-respect. Think about how many times in life you said yes, just to avoid disappointing someone. You accepted responsibilities you didn't have capacity for. You agreed to meet people who drained your energy. You listened to conversations that made you uncomfortable. You carried emotional weight that wasn't yours to carry. You walked into situations your intuition clearly warned you about. You allowed people into your life who took advantage of your kindness. And after all this, you ended up exhausted, frustrated, overwhelmed, and sometimes even resentful. But the truth is, people don't overstep because they are powerful. They overstep because you are too afraid to say no. And fear is a thief. It steals your peace, your time, your dreams, your identity. A strong woman has learned that she cannot pour from an empty cup. When she says no, she isn't rejecting a person, she is choosing herself. She is choosing her well-being. She is choosing her mental clarity. She is choosing her emotional balance. Let me share something important. Every yes you say carries a hidden cost. If you say yes to someone else's demand, you might be saying no to your own healing time, your rest, your priorities, your dreams. If you say yes to a relationship that drains you, you are saying no to the peace you deserve. If you say yes to pressure, you are saying no to your happiness. So when a strong woman learns to say no, she is not being selfish. She is finally being wise. Daily life is filled with moments where this rule becomes essential. Imagine someone asking you for help when you already have a full day. You want to support them, but you know helping them means neglecting something important for yourself. A strong woman politely refuses, not with harshness, but with clarity. I'm sorry, I can't do this today. And she moves on without guilt. She understands that guilt is a mental trap created by years of conditioning. She replaces guilt with honesty and aligns her actions with her capacity. Or think of a friend who only calls when they need something. never when they want to genuinely connect. A strong woman recognizes this imbalance and slowly limits her availability. Not because she is cruel, but because she values genuine connections, not one-sided relationships that drain her spirit. Or imagine a workplace where people keep piling extra tasks onto her because she is known to never refuse. She eventually realizes her kindness is being taken for granted. So one day she calmly says, "I cannot take on more at this moment." That simple sentence becomes a turning point. She earns respect, not because she said yes, but because she finally said no. Another example is emotional boundaries. When someone tries to manipulate her with guilt, "If you cared, you'd do this for me." A strong woman doesn't fall into the trap. Instead, she responds with composure, "I care, but I cannot do this right now." When someone tries to force her into choices she is uncomfortable with, she protects her space by refusing. Saying no stops being frightening and starts becoming empowering. A strong woman also understands that saying no saves her from unnecessary drama. When someone invites her into gossip, she turns it down. When someone provokes her into arguments that lead nowhere, she declines the fight. When someone wants her to compromise her values, she firmly refuses. Peace becomes more important than pleasing people. Sometimes, the most difficult no is the one she says to her own heart. The heart that wants to hold on to someone who is hurting her. The heart that wants to return to situations that destroyed her. The heart that wants to stay loyal to someone who never valued her. In those moments, her no becomes an act of self-liberation. She says no to the past so she can say yes to her future. Saying no does not make her unkind. Saying no does not make her arrogant. Saying no does not make her cold. A woman becomes strong when she learns her worth, and worth is expressed through boundaries. When you guard something precious, you don't apologize for it, and a woman's peace, energy, heart, and time are precious. The beauty of saying no is that it creates room for real yeses, the yeses that align with her purpose, her joy, her values. The yes to growth, the yes to self-care, the yes to healthier relationships, the yes to opportunities that uplift her, the yes to dreams she put aside for too long. A strong woman's no is not spoken with anger, but with calm confidence. Not with fear, but with clarity. Not with guilt, but with grace. And people around her slowly learn to respect her boundaries because she respects herself. The more comfortable she becomes with saying no, the more powerful her life becomes. Her decisions become intentional. Her relationships become healthier. Her mind becomes clearer. Her spirit becomes lighter. She realizes she cannot control how people react, but she can control how she protects her inner world. And sometimes, the most transformational moment of a woman's life is the moment she finally says, "No more." No more to being used. No more to being underestimated. No more to being overworked. No more to being manipulated. No more to being taken for granted. That no more is the first step toward a life of dignity, purpose, and strength. A strong woman never chases love because she understands a simple truth. Anything you have to chase will eventually run away again. When love is real, it stays. When love is true, it flows naturally. When love is pure, it doesn't require begging, convincing, or suffering. Too many women waste years running behind people who were never meant to stay. They confuse attachment with love. attention with affection, and temporary excitement with lifelong commitment. But a strong woman knows that the love she seeks must be built on respect, sincerity, and stability, never desperation. Imagine a woman who keeps trying to prove her worth to someone who barely values her. She replies instantly to every message, makes time even when she is exhausted, always says yes even when it hurts her, lowers her standards hoping he will notice her effort, waits for calls that never come, and forgives mistakes that keep repeating. She thinks that by giving more, she will finally be seen. But the reality is, when you chase someone, you teach them to run. When you overextend yourself, you teach others to underappreciate you. When you shrink your needs, you teach others to ignore them. A strong woman rises from this cycle. She understands that love is not earned by losing yourself. Love grows when you respect yourself. She stops running behind people who only choose her when it's convenient for them. She stops accepting crumbs while offering a full heart. She stops hoping that someone will change into the person she imagines. She starts valuing herself, and that change in her energy changes everything around her. Think of how many times people fall into relationships where they give everything but receive very little. They think, if I love him more, maybe he'll stay. But real love doesn't demand exhaustion. Real love grows peacefully. A strong woman practices a beautiful principle. She loves deeply, but she also loves wisely. She gives her heart, but not at the cost of her dignity. She supports someone she cares for, but she never abandons herself in the process. Daily life is full of examples where this rule becomes necessary. A woman in a toxic relationship may keep holding on, thinking leaving will make her look weak. But staying in pain does not make you strong. Choosing yourself does. Another woman may keep trying to prove to someone that she is worthy of attention. But worthiness is not proven through effort. Worthiness is recognized by someone who sees your value without being convinced. Another may stay silent in a relationship where she feels invisible, hoping one day he will realize her worth. But a strong woman knows that a man who cannot see your value today will not magically see it tomorrow. She begins to nurture herself instead. She invests in her growth. She works on her dreams. She builds her confidence. She builds her peace. She builds her life. Instead of chasing love, she becomes the kind of woman who attracts it naturally. Because love flows toward people who are fulfilled, grounded, and whole. When a woman knows her worth, she stops begging for text messages, attention, commitment, or respect. Her energy itself becomes a boundary. She also learns that true love cannot flourish in fear. Fear of being alone, fear of being replaced, fear of disappointing someone, fear of not being enough. A strong woman faces these fears and transforms them into strength. She realizes that being alone is better than being with someone who makes her feel lonely. She realizes that being authentic is better than being someone else just to be loved. She realizes that being valued is better than being tolerated. There comes a point in life when a woman experiences a powerful shift. She stops chasing someone who wouldn't cross a single step for her. She stops prioritizing someone who doesn't prioritize her. She stops breaking herself to keep a relationship alive. Instead, she steps back. She breathes. She heals. And slowly she rises. Her silence becomes stronger than her pleas. Her absence becomes louder than her presence. Her peace becomes more important than her desire to be loved by someone who cannot love deeply. And something magical happens. Love begins to find her, not the love that plays games, not the love that disappears when it's difficult, not the love that confuses and drains her, but the love that stays, the love that matches her energy, the love that respects her boundaries, the love that chooses her without hesitation, the love that grows with her, not at the cost of her. But this love only arrives when she stops running behind the wrong ones. A strong woman becomes strong because she understands that love is not a trophy someone gives you. Love is not validation someone hands you. Love is not approval you must earn. Love is a reflection of how you treat yourself. When you treat yourself as valuable, you attract people who value you. When you treat yourself as worthy, you attract people who respect you. When you treat yourself with love, you attract people who know how to love. She doesn't fear being alone because she knows solitude is not emptiness. It is preparation. She doesn't rush into relationships because she knows rushing brings regret. She doesn't entertain half-hearted love because she knows her heart deserves fullness. She doesn't beg God to bring someone back because she knows what leaves her life is making space for what aligns with her future. She walks forward. She holds her head high. She carries her worth with grace. And the world around her begins to see a truth she finally realized. The strongest woman is the one who no longer chases love. She becomes love. A strong woman understands that her emotions are not her enemies. They are her indicators. They show her what matters, what hurts, what needs healing, what needs change. But she also knows that emotions should be managed with wisdom, not allowed to control her life. Many people believe that being strong means being emotionless, but that is not true. Strength is not found in shutting down your heart. It is found in learning how to guide your heart gently, lovingly, intelligently. In daily life, emotions can rise like waves. Some are gentle ripples, others feel like storms. Anger, sadness, fear, confusion, disappointment, love. Each one arrives with a purpose. When a woman learns to manage them, she becomes powerful. When she suppresses them, she suffers silently. For example, imagine a woman who feels overwhelmed but keeps saying, "I'm fine." She smiles, but her eyes reveal exhaustion. She laughs, but her heart feels heavy. She keeps running, keeps giving, keeps pretending, until one day she breaks. Suppression does not make emotions disappear. It only buries them until they become heavier. A strong woman knows she does not have to carry everything alone. When she is hurt, she allows herself to feel the pain instead of denying it. She understands that tears are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign that she has been holding on for too long. She cries when she needs to, not in self-pity, but in release, clearing emotional space so she can grow again. When life becomes too heavy, she pauses instead of pushing herself into collapse. She allows herself to breathe, to rest, to heal. But even in her emotional depth, she does not let her feelings rule her decisions. For example, anger is a natural emotion. Anyone can get angry, but not everyone can remain wise while angry. A strong woman may feel the fire rising inside her, but she does not let that fire burn her relationships, her dignity, or her peace. She learns to step back, breathe, wait, observe, and then respond, not from rage but from clarity. She has the maturity to understand that temporary emotions should not create permanent damage. There are moments when fear whispers lies into her mind: fear of failing, fear of losing, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. But fear does not paralyze her because she talks to her fear gently. She acknowledges it, understands where it comes from, and then reminds herself that courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite fear. She chooses faith over anxiety, purpose over panic, growth over comfort. Another common emotion is sadness. Life is full of unpredictable turns. Relationships may break, dreams may delay, people may disappoint, situations may hurt deeply. A strong woman allows sadness to speak, but she does not let it drown her. She sits with the pain long enough to understand it, but not long enough to become it. She knows that every heartbreak carries a lesson, and every tear waters her future strength. She doesn't use sadness to justify giving up, she uses it to build resilience. Confusion is another emotion that often arrives during transitions. When things are uncertain, when paths are unclear, when decisions feel heavy, confusion becomes natural. But a strong woman does not panic when she is unsure. She gives herself time. She listens to her intuition. She gathers wisdom instead of rushing. She understands that clarity arrives when the heart is calm, not when it is chaotic. So she chooses patience over impulsiveness. Emotional intelligence also shows in relationships. For example, when someone hurts her, a strong woman doesn't immediately retaliate. She doesn't respond with the same energy. She pauses, evaluates, and decides whether the situation deserves her voice or her silence. She understands that not every conflict needs escalation, some simply need understanding. And not every misunderstanding needs explanation, some need distance. She doesn't let temporary emotions destroy valuable relationships, and she doesn't let toxic relationships disturb her emotional balance. In daily life, she practices awareness. When she feels irritation rising, she asks herself why. When she feels anxious, she asks what triggered it. When she feels lonely, she asks what needs nurturing inside her. This self-awareness becomes her compass. It helps her differentiate between emotional reactions and wise responses. A strong woman also understands the power of expression. She speaks her truth respectfully. She lets people know when she is hurt, not through shouting but through honesty. She communicates openly instead of allowing resentment to grow. She understands that silence is healing, but emotional bottling is dangerous. She knows when to talk, when to wait, when to reflect, and when to release. She also learns that managing emotions does not mean hiding them. It means transforming them. Pain becomes understanding, anger becomes strength, fear becomes courage, sadness becomes growth, confusion becomes clarity. Every emotion becomes a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. And above all, she learns to be gentle with herself. She knows she will have days where she feels strong and days where she feels fragile. She does not judge herself for feeling. She allows herself to be human. She gives herself compassion, the same compassion she gives everyone else. She nurtures her inner world like a garden, tenderly, patiently, consistently. A strong woman becomes strong not because she controls her emotions perfectly, but because she understands them deeply. She navigates them with grace. She uses them wisely. And in doing so, she becomes a woman whose heart is soft, but whose spirit is unbreakable, emotionally aware, emotionally balanced, emotionally powerful. A strong woman understands that waiting for the perfect moment is the most silent way to waste a lifetime. She knows that if everything had to be perfect before she started, she would never begin at all. Life does not hand out ideal circumstances. Life offers opportunities hidden inside imperfect situations. And she learns that taking the first step, no matter how small, is often more powerful than waiting endlessly for the right time. In daily life, people often say, I'll start when I'm ready, I'll begin when things calm down, I'll work on my dreams when I have more support, or I take the leap when I feel confident. But confidence is not something that magically appears before you act. It grows because you acted. Conditions rarely become perfect. Doubts rarely disappear fully. Fear rarely vanishes completely. A strong woman realizes this truth early. Hesitation steals more dreams than failure ever does. Imagine a woman with a beautiful talent. Maybe she writes well, sings beautifully, bakes wonderfully, or has a creative idea burning inside her. But she keeps holding herself back, thinking, not now, maybe later. And later becomes months, months become years, and years become regret. But one day she decides, enough. She begins with what she has, where she is, with the little strength she can gather. That small beginning becomes a doorway to transformation. A strong woman does not wait for life to hand her confidence. She builds it step by step. She takes action even when her hands tremble, even when her voice shakes, even when her mind is full of doubts. She learns that courage is not a grand explosion. Sometimes courage is simply moving forward quietly, without announcing anything to the world. Progress is progress, even when slow. You may have seen women who stay stuck in unhappy places, not because they cannot move, but because they are waiting for a perfect moment to move, waiting for the perfect time to leave a toxic relationship, waiting for the perfect job to appear before resigning from a draining one, waiting for the perfect financial situation before starting a business, waiting for perfect motivation before beginning a fitness journey. But perfection is a trap, and a strong woman understands that the only perfect time is now. She doesn't wait for her fears to disappear, she moves with them. She doesn't wait for approval, she approves of herself. She doesn't wait for someone to rescue her, she chooses to rescue her own dreams. She realizes that every step forward, even imperfect, is better than standing still in the same pain. In daily life, people hesitate because they fear making mistakes. But mistakes are not the opposite of success, they are the path to success. A strong woman allows herself to stumble, to fall, to learn, to rise. She understands that every master was once a beginner, every expert was once unsure, every strong person once doubted themselves. She gives herself permission to grow, even if growth is messy. She may start something small, a course, a small business, a personal project, a new habit. And others might not understand. They may say, why now? Or are you sure? Or what if you fail? But she doesn't let external voices drown her inner calling. She knows people who don't dare to begin will always question those who do. Instead of listening to fear-based opinions, she listens to her intuition. Sometimes the obstacles in her life are not outside, they are inside. Thoughts like, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, what will people think? Or maybe later. But she begins anyway, not because she feels fully prepared, but because she refuses to waste her potential. And something incredible happens. Once she takes that first step, life begins to align, resources appear, helpers arrive, opportunities unfold, the path becomes clearer, momentum develops, and she realizes that she was never waiting for the right time. The time was waiting for her. A strong woman also understands that beginnings don't have to be loud. Growth doesn't have to be announced. Progress doesn't need applause. She starts quietly, consistently, with faith in her heart. She doesn't compare her starting point to someone else's middle. She measures her progress against the woman she was yesterday, not against the world. She also knows that small steps count. Waking up a little earlier, saving a small amount, reading a few pages, practicing a skill daily, clearing one area of her life at a time. These tiny actions create enormous results when done with dedication. People see strong women and think they became powerful overnight, but strength is built in the hidden hours, the lonely mornings, the silent prayers, the private decisions. And finally, she learns something profound. Starting before you feel ready teaches you that you were stronger than you believed. Every small victory builds a new layer of confidence. Every mistake builds wisdom. Every step forward builds courage. She becomes stronger because she keeps moving. She becomes wiser because she keeps learning. She becomes unstoppable because she keeps starting again. A strong woman does not wait for life to give her permission. She gives herself permission. She steps into her journey even with fear in her heart, because she knows fear is not a sign to stop. Fear is a sign that something meaningful is ahead. She begins even if imperfectly. She moves even if slowly. She grows even if quietly. And through these imperfect beginnings, she becomes a woman who is no longer defined by what she waited for. She becomes a woman defined by what she courageously started. There comes a stage in every woman's life when she realizes that not every battle deserves her energy, not every argument deserves her voice, and not every situation deserves her peace. Strength is not only about how loudly you can fight, it is also about how gracefully you can protect your inner world. And one of the most powerful ways a woman becomes truly strong is by learning to let go of what is no longer aligned with her growth. Letting go does not mean you are weak. It means you respect yourself so much that you will not hold on to anything that disturbs your mental space. Many women stay stuck in places where they no longer belong, friendships that drain them, relationships that break them, environments that belittle them, because they hope things will magically change. But life has shown us many times that holding on tightly to what hurts us only suffocates our potential. True strength lies in recognizing when something is finished and allowing yourself to walk away gracefully, with dignity, without bitterness, and without revenge. Think of a garden. If you keep watering a dead plant, no matter how much love you give, it will never bloom again. And the more you try to revive it, the more you lose your time, your effort, and your hope. But the moment you stop watering what is dead and start planting something new, life begins to flourish again. In the same way, letting go is the courage to stop giving your emotional water to something that is no longer alive in your journey. Letting go also means releasing expectations that exhaust your heart. Sometimes the people you love will not love you the same way. Sometimes the apologies you deserve will never come. Sometimes the closure you seek will not arrive. And sometimes situations will not unfold in the way you envisioned. A strong woman understands that clinging to how things should have been creates more pain than letting go of what they actually are. When you release expectations, you create space for acceptance. Acceptance brings peace, and peace brings power. Imagine you are carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Every regret, every disappointment, every betrayal, every broken promise. If you walk for years with this weight, you will be exhausted long before you reach your destination. But the moment you open the bag and remove even one stone, your steps become lighter. When you empty the bag completely, your speed, clarity, and direction transform. Letting go is like removing stones from your emotional backpack. Many women fear letting go because they mistake it for losing. But sometimes letting go means you have finally won. Won your sanity back. Won your happiness back. Won your self-respect back. Walking away from what drains you is not a loss. Staying in what destroys you is. The world might not always understand your decision, but your heart will silently thank you for choosing peace over chaos. Letting go also teaches you patience. Life works in ways that we may not always comprehend. Something you let go of today may return to you in a more mature, more aligned, more meaningful form tomorrow. And something you desperately chase today may reveal later that it was never good for you. When you let go, you are telling the universe, I trust your timing more than my fear. And that trust becomes a magnet for blessings. Think about a woman who once loved deeply, but the relationship became toxic. She tried everything: communication, sacrifice, understanding, but the other person didn't meet her halfway. One day she decided she could not fight alone anymore. She walked away with tears in her eyes, but strength in her soul. Months later, she found peace, clarity, and even love within herself and with people who valued her. Her life blossomed not because she held on, but because she bravely let go. In daily life too, letting go is essential. If a colleague says something rude, you can choose to let go instead of carrying it all day. If a friend disappoints you once, you can let go of the anger instead of holding grudges. If something doesn't go according to your plan, you can let go of the frustration and adapt. The more you practice letting go, the more mentally spacious you become. And a spacious mind is a powerful mind. Letting go also helps you protect your emotional energy, your most precious resource. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. Not everyone deserves the privilege of your presence. When you let go of the wrong people, you make room for the right ones. When you let go of overthinking, you make room for peace. When you let go of self-doubt, you make room for confidence. When you let go of fear, you make room for faith. Always remember, a strong woman is not the one who holds on the longest, but the one who knows when the time has come to release the weight that no longer belongs to her journey. She lets go gently, bravely, and wisely, knowing that the more she releases, the more she rises. Letting go is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter, a healthier chapter, a stronger chapter. And every time you let go of something heavy, you make space for something beautiful.